We're not just fighting for compensation. We're demanding a public inquiry into how this happened.
The public has a right to view this as a mass murder.
There may be thousands of Canadians out there who are HIV positive and don't know it.
If I fed my son poison, I'd be in jail. How come the Red Cross can feed him poison and get away with it?
Because of the use of tainted blood products, these Canadians have been forced to endure a life of pain and suffering.
Inspired by true stories of families who endured the worst public health disaster in our history, Tainted is a play that puts a human face on the tainted blood crisis. Please welcome its writer and producer, Kat Lantain, and survivor and advocate, Dr. Andy Cummings. Guys, please, I want you to give us a little background information about this tainted blood crisis and how you came to meet Andy and put on this play.
Well, the tainted blood crisis was the worst and is the worst health crisis that Canada's ever endured, and it affected 30,000 people. A big part of that were hemophiliacs, like Andy is. A lot of those hemophiliacs were co-infected with HIV and hepatitis C. People were still getting infected with hepatitis C up till 1993 in this country. And the reason why it was such a tragedy was because people who were infected and impacted realized that there were measures that could have been taken to prevent them from being infected.
And how'd you come to meet Andy?
I met Andy actually at a fundraiser up in Collingwood, and he was telling part of his story, and I had tried to make a film of the tainted blood crisis a few years earlier, and it reminded me that the story was being forgotten by so many. So I realized that it really had to be told, and a play was a perfect way to do it.
And Andy, what was it about the play that drew you to it, and what was it about your story that you think drew you to Kat?
Well, as you said in your lead, I'm a survivor. I think the thing to understand about this crisis is that the hemophilia community, virtually 95% of hemophiliacs who were adults at the time of the onset of the crisis in the early 80s have now passed away from complications of hep C and HIV. And so I'm one of those lucky few people that actually made it through. And when you survive a Holocaust, such as this really has been for the hemophiliacs, you have a responsibility to sort of bear witness and tell people about it. And so I went public with my HIV status, which is something I had protected very fiercely for my entire professional life. I'm an ex-physics professor and a banker, and you just don't tell the people you work with that you're HIV positive, or you didn't back in the 80s and 90s.
And what's the support been like since you've come out?
Well, it's been fine. I mean, it's a new era now, and it's actually taken a weight off my shoulders. So yeah. it's actually been in quite an uplifting experience. Helping Kat do the background on the play, I became the model for one of her characters in the play, and she interviewed me, and we carried on from there. But to get to a point that Kat was starting to make, this was really preventable. I mean, one of the takeaways, and the reason it's so relevant now, as we're having new legislation is trying to be crafted to block the ability to pay for blood products. When you mix the procurement of human tissue with the profit motive, in other words, you use the corporate model for collecting blood and making blood products, corporations have the responsibility to maximize the returns to their shareholders. Right. And so they will go out and find the cheapest source for that blood. Like any other business. Like any other business, the cheapest source for the blood. So what they found in the early 80s was, hey, we don't have to pay $20 on the high street for blood donations. We can go to the prisons and get it for $2 a unit. But the prisons at that time had up to 30% of the people were HIV and hep C infected. So once they made the blood products out of that blood, it just instantly infected every single hemophiliac really in the Western world. It wasn't just Canada, it was the United States, Japan, England, all through Europe. Hundreds of thousands of people globally.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much for coming in and bringing awareness to this situation, and Andy, for you for having such a great poise and coming out and presenting your story to the public like this. And the Tainted Tour will hit Toronto, Hamilton, London, Windsor, Kingston, Ottawa, Thunder Bay. All public readings are free, and more can be found at the website at moyotheatre.com. The public can RSVP to readings and emails at contact@themoyotheatre.com. We'll be right back with more BT after this. Thank you guys so much.